So the first thing is we've worked on the agenda for this as well to make sure that I have a picture up front I can share with people of what to expect. So it is a 5-day event in Mexico, but we're going to be running a mastermind on 3 days. And the key thing about this is my previous masterminds have been themed around Facebook ads. So, how to run Facebook ads and things like that. And it's not to say we wouldn't do that again, but this is quite different. This is actually a business growth mastermind. And really what I'm doing is bringing together my learnings pretty much all the way back from 2012 to launching the affiliate marketing business, failing at that, making investments, luckily, and not completely wasting some of the profit we made. And then even spinning that with what we had in the agency and then how we took that business forward. And it created multiple income streams, created a personal brand, masterminded, got involved in other people's masterminds and developed it from there as well. Now, why do I say this is a life-changing event? It's because I've been through this already. And honestly, my life has changed as a result of the things I've done. So if I kind of timeline that for you and give you an idea of kind of where I've come from, my kind of biggest shift in my life, came in 2009. So in 2009, up until that point, I was in corporate. I'd kind of followed the corporate path, get a job, get a career and things like that. But then this is kind of where I got jolted out of the matrix. So up until that point, my life was just basically get a job 9 to 5 and try and get up on the career ladder. But that's when I lost everything that I'd kind of worked up for. So I lost my job and I couldn't get a job for 3 months. And this was because of the global recession. So back in, I think it was 2007, 2008, there was a big global recession. The economy dropped. Lehman Brothers, and you can go and research it if you want. There, I lived through it. 2009, finally, my job came and it was taken. Now, I'd been in e-commerce for about 4.5 years. So I've been working in-house. So my thought was, I'm just going to go get a job, things would be fine. It wasn't fine because most people were firing, and the ones that were hiring, they had the power. So they were underpaying and undercutting the market. I just couldn't get a job. And at this point, I had 2 kids. In fact, I had 1 kid and 1 on the way. And I couldn't get my bills paid. And I was completely stressed to the point that I fell into depression. So as difficult as it was going through it, I can look back and say, you know what, I had to live that life in order to come through. And in the kind of coming through part of it, by 2011 and 12, I'd started my affiliate marketing business. So this was out of desperation because I needed an income. I needed a way to literally generate money. Like that was the only reason I started that business was because I'd hit that kind of hard patch in 2009. But again, it took me 2 years to actually make decent money. So 2009, it took me 3 to 4 months to get a job. But in the meantime, I was studying affiliate marketing and trying to get a handle on how I can make money from it. By 2011 to 2012, we actually made revenue of 1 million. Now, that might sound good. Our profit wasn't 1 million. We didn't make $1 million in profit, but we made enough that father-in-law actually told me about investment and actually how to take small dollars and create big dollars. So if anyone's read Think and Grow, not Think and Grow Rich, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, or Poor Dad, Rich Dad, whichever way it is, author Kiyosaki talks about how his dad was one thing, but his friend's dad was something else. And that's kind of why I had a relationship with my dad as well as my father-in-law. My dad was very conservative. He was very much get a job, go to university, all those kind of things and make a career and whatever. Whereas my father-in-law, although he had a job and things like that, he was always involved in investments and how can I take $1 and make $10? So he actually guided us at that point to buy a property. And that actually paid back dividends because guess what? 5 years later, that property had just in value. So we got it for 300. It was almost now, I think it was worth 550. So that investment alone, just putting the money in, buying a rental property, and fortunately doing it in such a way that it appreciated so rapidly, meant that we now had more equity in this property and we could do other things. Now, I'm not going to cover that. That will be at the mastermind, but I just want to give you an idea of kind of where I'm coming from with this. Now, when this business failed, it failed because I was doing SEO, but it wasn't very good quality SEO. And what I mean by that is I would rank for keywords that my partners were not ranking on. So I was selling UK holiday breaks and I could quite easily research the long tail. So if you know SEO, I was looking at keywords that had multiple words that they were not ranking for. And I was like, how can I rank for those? And it was actually really easy to rank for. So I was generating revenues, profit at that time of tens of thousands of pounds. Now, I never had that as a monthly income. It was getting close to my yearly salary in terms of take home profit. But as quickly as we were able to scale it up, it also disappeared because in 2012, Google made a big change and that literally zeroed our traffic. And again, it was a tough experience to go through, but that's the thing that pushed me into Facebook ads, because at that point, I was driving organic traffic. So I wasn't paying for any traffic. I had landing pages, I had a website, and I was bumping that traffic off to the affiliate partners I was working with and making commission. And for a number of these companies, we were the top affiliate. We were getting invites, we were getting things like hampers sent through the post and things like that. I thought I was at the top of the world because I was crushing it. I didn't really understand what I didn't know, right? So I was going into this thinking, this is super easy. Like, I'm just going to sit back and scale this. I wasn't really looking at what happens if I don't do this, or what might go wrong. I just didn't have that in my head. I was just so immature, maybe. It's the first time running a business. I didn't really know anything about business at that point because I'd been working in internet marketing, but I knew nothing about running a business, P&Ls, accounting, all that. In fact, we didn't know enough about accounting such that I think 2011 or 2012, our tax bill was, I think, more than double my annual 9-to-5 salary. And that absolutely crushed me because we were sitting with money in the bank. We thought we were doing so great and stuff like that. And then we hired an accountant. We just thought, just do all the filing and stuff. And he came back and he goes, do you know that because you're not registered as a limited company, you're going to be paying the highest tax rate, which is, I think, 30%, 40% as it was back then. So a lot of that money that we had actually kept in the bank, because obviously we spent some as well, a lot of that went to the tax man. So that really, really ruined things for me. And that was a big experience, hard experience to learn, but we learned it. And this is the key thing here. Every time there's a setback, you're making a learning. Okay, recession. What do I do next time? SEO, one traffic. What do I do next time? Affiliate marketing. We made money. What do I do next time I've got money? Okay, we did the investment. What happened there? So the Facebook route was an interesting one because I never would have thought of going into Facebook advertising. In fact, in 2011 and 12, when I started to really dabble with Facebook, I was making losses of thousands of dollars. I just didn't see how someone could buy off of Facebook. Luckily, I persisted. And then in 2014 is when I had my big breakthrough and I figured things out. And that was taking a company from 800K to 26.5 million. And this was done in a way that I didn't really understand at the time. Like, we were scaling and doing so well. And, this got me into Facebook's inner circle, got an invite into their offices in Ireland and also in San Francisco, Menlo Park. So while we were in this kind of roller coaster ride, everything was kind of going well. Not to say it was perfect, because we had a particular month in 2015 where everything absolutely dropped. We had to just stop everything and reassess everything. We did scale it back up. And that's when we finally got to spending hundreds of thousands of dollars per day. But the challenge with this was I didn't really have a method to understand. I don't know if you can hear the drilling in the background, but apologies, I have no idea what's going on. I didn't understand how I did this. So I did scale up this Facebook thing, but I didn't really know how I did that. When I left this company, because I was contracting for them at the time, I then went and started to contract for other companies. So 2016 was really about contracting. And then through a conversation with Facebook, I ended up with an agency. Now, if you told me at any point before this, you're going to end up running an agency, I'd have said, not interested at all. It's just not something that I really wanted to do. In fact, here, I was looking to start my own e-com business. I bought multiple stores, and the idea was to run ads for multiple stores, find the ones that were working and kind of scale them up. But the opportunity came where Facebook said, if you launch an agency, because you're really good at what you do, you've been helping clients one at a time, what you could do multiple. I did that. Now, this is kind of where I had a big inflection point. And this is a big part of why I was starting to grow my business. I had, I think, 10 clients. I had about myself, my business partner, and a few others in the team. And I wanted to make sure that I did things properly this time. And this is where I actually went back to my learnings from this period and said, what did I do wrong here and what could I do better? And the key thing there was I didn't ask for advice. I didn't feel like I needed any help. And because of that, I didn't know what was coming up and all the things to look for and all the pitfalls. And at the same time, I wanted to grow my agency. And at the time, I'd been studying this guy called Russell Brunson. So 2016, I read his books. I was trying to understand who he was, what he does, and things like that. And through ClickFunnels, I started to get an idea of how I could build different traffic funnels for my agency. And it was back then that I reached out to this guy here. So he's Akbar Sheikh. He's actually joining us in Mexico. The reason I'm sharing this with you is because he gave me the most amazing breakthrough that I didn't know I needed, but I took. So in 2017, I actually hired him to help build our funnels and, build webinar funnel, email follow-up and things like that for the agency so that we can actually start to reach more people in a different way. So not this typical kind of, by that point, I was doing LinkedIn outreach and word of mouth. I didn't really have any ads running, but I wanted to create something based on kind of how Russell Brunson had set things up. And this guy that I found online seemed to talk the same language that I do, talking about impacting people, running an ethical business, reinvesting profit in people and charities and things like that. And I thought that's really, really cool. So I actually reached out to him and we jumped on a call. Now, bear in mind, he's successful, but at that point, he'd really kind of started to peak in terms of his business and things like that. He'd spent 12 months in Russell Brunson's inner circle, which at the time was 25K. And to work with Akbar at that time was actually 50K. So when I actually jumped on the call with him, to say I had a shock would be an understatement. And when he said, look, we can build your funnels, we'll do everything for you. We'll even run your ads for you, whatever it needs to succeed. And we'll work with you until you make that 50K back. It was a really hard decision to make sense of this. Like, I wanted to work with this guy, but 50K, we just didn't have 50K. In the end, he came back and said, look, we'll do it for 25K, plus you give us some ads consulting. So the idea was he'd discount it down by 25K. We'd kind of give him the equivalent back in service. So 6 months support, whatever it was. So I agreed to that. Even then, we didn't have the 25K, but we made it happen because I felt like it was the thing that we needed to do. And by the way, we just started our agency. We were cash poor, even though we had an investment going, we didn't have the money in the bank. But somehow we borrowed and we took money out of the credit card and we made this happen. And the amazing thing from this is, so in terms of return, so 2018, what we actually did was quite interesting. We didn't actually turn that into an agency lead gen funnel. We turned it into a course funnel. So when I launched this in March 2018, we made $100,000 in course sales within 6 weeks from working with Akbar and his team. So this 25K funnel and setup and consulting that we did helped to, we turned that 25K into 100K of revenue. And the great thing about selling courses is there wasn't an overhead. It wasn't like, oh, we got more clients and now we need to serve more clients. It was a course. I think we started selling it at $495 and then it doubled and, we started selling it at $1,000. But that gives you an idea of the leap of faith. Now, I didn't know it was going to work out. I just had this feeling that this was the right thing to do. Now, that's all great. But the interesting thing that came out of this was working with Akbar. We actually focused a lot more on my brand. So his idea was, when I took him through my backstory and I explained all of this to him, he said, I've never met anyone that has scaled a business so fast with Facebook ads and been spending hundreds of thousands of dollars a day. He goes, I've worked with many, many people. I've never heard this before. He goes, people need to hear your story. People need to know this is actually possible and they need to learn from you. I didn't want to do that. I'm an introvert. I'd rather not be in front of people. I was just happy doing all this stuff in the background. Like affiliate marketing is very much the play of introverts in general because you don't really need any publicity. You're just doing things behind the scene. But then I saw an opportunity, which was actually, I could grow my agency faster by leveraging a brand. And that's exactly the path I took, despite my inner voice telling me, don't do it. It's outside your comfort zone and all those kind of things. But working with Akbar broke my imposter syndrome down and gave me the confidence to actually make things happen. And I think no matter what we made back, even if we didn't make any return on that investment with working with Akbar, that mindset work, and we'd spend weeks and weeks working on this. And I guess I needed to be broken down and rebuilt to reframe how I saw myself and how I saw the world. to be able to be in the position where I was confident enough to share the stuff that I do and to actually become a public face. So up until 2018, SM Commerce as an agency was just an agency, and I wasn't really, you wouldn't find a picture of me on the website. I just wasn't present on the website at all. And that shifted. And one of the key things that he encouraged me to do, which if you're going to ClickFunnels, as I think Facebook ad buyers, some of these groups, end of 2017, he said to me, here's a test for you. Go into one of these groups and share your biggest case study and just see what happens. And I did that after weeks of just thinking and overthinking it. I posted it in a few of those groups, had thousands of comments and likes and all that kind of stuff, and loads of people reaching out and befriending me. And I went from like 300 genuine friends, or maybe not even 300, maybe 200 genuine people I know on Facebook, to like 2,000 within weeks. And it was like, what is going on here? This is just amazing. And that helped me to position things differently. So by 2018, I'd actually been in a position where I had two income streams. So if you look at agency, we had the agency stream here, and now we had course revenue. It was never planned, but it happened like that. So into 2018 and 2019, one of the things I realized was running two businesses when you're just getting to grips with running one is so hard. So I had to make a decision. One of these businesses had to die down and slow down. And we decided that for 2018, we'd stop selling courses and training and things like that. We'd focus on the agency until the summer of 2018. A guy called Jeff reached out and he said, I just want to let you know that, the course that you promoted start of 2018, I was one of the first people to buy in. We got it at the beta rate, $400. And it literally saved my business and changed my life. Now, when I read that in Messenger, and I've still got that in Messenger right now, and I reference it quite a lot, is a turning point for me. I realized actually course sales is not just about making money. For me, it was just like affiliate marketing. You can make some money and invest it forward. But when Jeff reached out and he said, you've actually changed my life, that touched something different inside me. I think that just sparked something I didn't know was there. And now all of a sudden, I wanted more of those dopamine hits. I wanted more of those feedbacks to say, hey, your course has been amazing. It's changed my life. It's done this, it's done that. And that's the direction I started to then pursue. And I said, I can't give this up. Now into 2019, I'd already attended events here. So in 2018, I'd been to multiple masterminds, events, conferences. I went to Russell Brunson's Funnel Hacking Live, Tim Bird's Facebook Ads Mastermind, Dimitris Skiadis's Greek Mastermind. I'd been connecting all these things because all of a sudden I had this brand. And when I started to put my face out there, all of a sudden people are contacting me, like Dimitris, who's now a good friend, and said, hey, heard your Facebook ad stuff. Come out to Greece and share it with all these amazing people. Okay. Yeah. And we'll accommodation is covered, flights are covered, all that kind of stuff. And for me, that was like, really? Okay, amazing. Let's do it. Like, why would you say no? And then all of a sudden, Tim Bird reaches out and says, hey, I've seen all your success, man. Come and speak at my London mastermind, which was, for me, was down the road. And now I can call Tim a good friend because we've done that over and over. And in fact, in 2019, I held a mastermind in San Jose, California. And I said, hey, Tim, I'd love for you to be a speaker at my mastermind. Travel covered. I've got your accommodation covered. If you can make your way to San Jose, which for him, he drove from Los Angeles. But that was an amazing experience for me to actually connect with different people and find new opportunities. So now I'm holding my own masterminds. And we had, I think, 4 that year: Singapore, Vancouver, San Jose, and I'm not sure where the other one was. If it wasn't for COVID, we'd have been doing that thing every single year, because the amazing thing that happened was we were transforming people's lives in person over 2 or 3 days. We were working on people's ad accounts. We were giving them insights on what to do, sharing what's working for us. And it was amazing to see that in person. Now, would I have done in-person events back here? Absolutely not. Outside of my comfort zone. But now I had a bug for it. Now it was like, this is an amazing experience. So my goal from 2019 was to do this every 3 months. Obviously, 2020 and 21 came along and that wasn't possible. But that had already seeded something in my mind on, yes, we can help people online. And yes, the agency can help businesses. But how many people can I help in the agency? 10 clients, 20 clients, 30 clients. We were scaling. And by 20, we'd actually started to hit some big revenues with the agency. So, we were now doing 6 figures every single month. We were also now growing our digital business. So, that's courses, that's coaching, that's masterminds. Again, we were hitting big revenue numbers through these 2 programs, but it's very, very difficult to set things up in motion and have two very successful businesses running side by side. And plus you have COVID on top of that. So into 22, I wanted to really think about, I've got all these things going on, but I don't know how to structure it. So I think, at the start, at this point, I was like, I want to build a community. I want a paid community that can come together, that I don't have to keep focusing on these big webinars and these courses. And that's where Ad Signals came about. So the idea here was, can we build a big community where we give the training, the support, the insights, and I can funnel so much of my time in here to impact thousands and thousands of more people than I can at, agency and events and things like that. But then in 2022, an opportunity came up for me to actually join Russell Brunson's Inner Circle. This is a 50K program. And for me, it came at the right time and I had the money to invest. So, by this point, I'd already invested in Sam Ovens, Taylor Welch, other people, and trying to learn from them and getting into their inner circle. This was a huge opportunity for me to figure things out. And then the reason why I'm highlighting this is going to be a big part of the agenda that I'll be sharing at the event. So this kind of part here, my ascension path model, this is something that I've developed over the last year using Russell Brunson's techniques, his inner frameworks, his blueprint, and actually putting that into our business. So the thing is, like, when you look at businesses and you've got, let's kind of move it over here. So typically you'd kind of think of traffic goes into a funnel, some might call it a website, and then something happens and money comes out. And sometimes that money becomes bigger money through lifetime value, right? So that's the kind of typical view of how you'd want to operate any kind of offer that you're running with. Now, my view of making any type of ad work, and you may have seen this already if you've been through the BPM method, is you need a product or a service. So once you know what you're promoting, you need to figure out who you're promoting that to. So you have your avatar. Once you have your avatar, then that goes into constructing your offer. The offer is the most important thing you can ever create in your ad campaign, because the offer is what sends people to your funnel. And your funnel could be anything. I just shared something recently in Ad Signals, in fact, where the funnel was taking someone from a fake post into a messenger chat, into a messenger flow, into an ebook. And then from there, getting them to book a calendar meeting. And then from there, getting them to book into the Mexico mastermind. So that's an example of a funnel. There are probably hundreds of different ways you can cut this. So Russell Brunson talked about one funnel away. It's not as easy as one funnel away. It's actually, what's the right funnel for the offer that you're pushing that will work for your avatar to ultimately sell your products or service. So this is how I see advertising. Like if I go back to 2015, like why did this business scale so hard and get into these crazy numbers? It was because, without really realizing it, this is what we had. We were selling e-commerce books, or children's books, as an e-commerce store. We absolutely nailed our avatar. And I'd argue, even before I started, they really had a good handle of who they're selling to. But the offer was not very good, and neither was the funnel. And I actually spent months working on the offer and funnel for this business before we were able to scale. So at that point, we were spending about 5 to 10K a month, and we were making losses. But the company knew that there was something they had to crack. So they were happy to make those losses whilst we're optimizing the funnel, changing the landing pages, changing the flow through their store, and kind of really testing and working on the offer. It took us months and months and months. Then finally, as we spent 10K and made 50K back, our minds were blown. Like, we've 5X return here. And then from there, we never looked back. But that was it. And it's not a one size fits all funnel. It wasn't land on the page, add to cart, go and buy. We had to adapt it right for their avatar. So going back to this model, which is kind of typical, you just get traffic, funnel, and this is how clients see it as well. Because I've worked with so many different agency clients as well. It's very simple to see things like this. However, when you've got multiple products and services and you've got multiple avatars, that's where I couldn't quite figure out how to make my business work. So I had all these assets, but they weren't as profitable or revenue generators as I thought they were. So on one hand, we have an agency. The agency offers ads management, it's consulting, and build projects. Then we had this digital part of the business, which was offering courses, Now community, coaching, consulting, events. I had an e-commerce business as well. So that was also operating, and we're also still in the affiliate marketing game as well. So I had all these pieces to figure out. And you can speak to my team over the last 2 years. I was always like, it feels like we've got this puzzle in front of us, and there's no map to tell us how these pieces go together. And we're just trying to put these pieces together, but I don't know how to do it. It was stressing me out because on one hand, I was putting a lot more time into this than I wanted to. On the other hand, I knew that we just needed to find the right pieces. So this is where I joined Russell Brunson's Inner Circle. I was at Funnel Hacking Live in 22. He put the offer up on stage, and bear in mind, I'd been to multiple Funnel Hacking Lives, and I was kind of immune to his offers and stuff. But this one thing resonated, and what he spoke about, and if you're in the ClickFunnels community, you'll understand this, is this concept which he calls linchpin. Now, I've called it my ascension path model, but the concept is kind of similar. So with the linchpin, one of the things that I realized that he talks about that I didn't really have a proper concept on is this idea of demonstrating what you can do. Now, if you go into a store, you have these people at the end of the aisle sometimes. So we have Costco here, or it used to be in the UK. We also have it in North America, where if you go to the end of the aisle, when they've got a new product, they have someone who's giving out samples. That's because when a new product comes out in a store, you're not just going to jump and buy it unless there's a reason for you to do so. It might be an ad, might be a magazine ad, a TV ad, or something like that. But if you go in store and they can get you to try it there and then, it might be a new style of cake or a dessert or something like that, or, olives or whatever it is. If they get you to try it and you like it, you're going to take it home with you there and then. And that's the difference between kind of advertising and bringing people on a funnel where you're going to try and convert them with multiple touch points, and just doing it in a one shot. So if you look at this kind of example here, this is quite a long funnel. This is Facebook ad into Messenger conversation, get an ebook, read the ebook, call via calendar. And this is, by the way, this is the that we sent out, which is, promoting our mastermind and, all the things that we're going to be presenting there, the experience, the impact, the outcomes from it as well. The fact that it's a paradise resort and things like that. So this was what we sent to them, which is full of advice and transformation, and then kind of going into obviously selling, but it's still a long funnel. So the question here is how do you select the right funnel? How do you make sure that you've got the right demos in place? Now think about the types of different demos you've got. The very easiest one to understand is a lead magnet. So a lead magnet is nothing more than how do you demonstrate the thing that you ultimately want to sell? What other demos are there? There's a webinar, there's a VSL, and there are many, many others as well. And as Russell was talking about it, it kind of started to make sense that where I was struggling with all this, it was we had all these demos, but we didn't really construct it in a way that was fit for the right avatar. And as we started to put these things together, it started to work out and things started to make more sense. And then the goal here is combining what I would call the kind of short-term revenue with long-term. And I'll explain what that means as well. So with the short-term revenue, you're just looking to create cash. I'm going to type that in here. Cash flow and growth. Now, what's the difference between the two? The difference could be if I'm trying to sell my agency services, and let's say, right now it's the minimum of 7.5K to work with the agency. It's because we have a very specific client base that's already making millions. And within that, we manage their Facebook ads, their funnel optimization, the tech, the creatives, and we stack a lot of things in there. So for the right client, this kind of makes sense. But to get those clients takes time. So what do you do in the meantime to keep cash flow coming in? Because for something like this, it could cost $1,000 to $2,000, maybe $3,000 to acquire a customer. So you're spending on ads, you're building funnels, you're nurturing and things like that. It's still profitable, but it takes time. This is the slow lane of growing. This is the fast lane. So what does that mean? In 2019, I launched the CBO cookbook. So some of you may have read it, bought it, etc. We launched it in September 2019, a $97 ebook. We made 100,000 in 8 days. Now, up until that point, the best I'd done for myself was 100K over 6, maybe 7 weeks. That was in 2018. Now we've done that in 8 days. Now, bear in mind, we weren't even making that a month in the agency. So in 8 days, I created a product, and going all the way back here, I built a product, which was the CVO cookbook. I really nailed the avatar. Now I've got my own process of doing this, and some people kind of don't understand the power of it, but I'm going to tell you it right now. It's nothing more than the 5W avatar. And the reason why a lot of people overlook it in terms of how powerful it is because it's how simple it is, but the power is also in its simplicity. So when I built the avatar for the CVO cookbook, I knew exactly who I'm pinpointing and therefore what the offer needs to be and what the funnel needs to look like. So we launched that 8 days, did 100K. That made me realize that at any point in my business, at any point in my life that I need cash, I have the ability to create it. So no matter what happens, so go all the way back to here. And this is why I say this stuff is life changing. When I hit the recession here, I had no idea how to make money. In fact, the most depressing point, the lowest rock bottom point of my life, I think, was queuing to get a government check. Because at that point, I was surrounded by people who I didn't identify with that were also queuing for government checks. Looked like they've been doing this for many, many years and jobless and things like that. And now I'm in the jobless pile. Like I felt so worthless. I felt like it was kind of heartbreaking for me to think that I was working in a corporate business for 4.5 years, doing okay, and then just to be discarded into the trash and have no idea how to bring an income in. It took me 2 years to figure out how to bring an income in. And even then, I still didn't really know what I was doing. Fast forward to 2019, not only do I know how and all the multiple ways to generate money, I know how to switch things on. We did that with the CBO cookbook, with the fat framework, with other products. Each time we were able to build a solution that fixes a problem and gets people short-term, but very big results, that gets us cash flow. So in the background, we've got this cash flow opportunity, and that's something we'd be running every 3 to 6 months. And then we got the larger growth. So for example, we've got our agency products. We've got Elite, which is our agency products. I've got my Inner Circle as well, which is my DMC program. We have our events. These take time to sell. These take time to convince people to, pay 7.5, 2K or 3K or 5 or 10 or, 50K, whatever it is. It takes time to build that funnel up, but we've always got this cash flow opportunity. And when I realized this, I realized I need to explain this to so many more people. So one of the reasons why I'm sharing this right now for you is if this makes sense to you, then you need to be in the mastermind in Mexico, because not only am I giving you the surface level here, I'm going to break down the lead magnets, the webinars, the VSLs, how we did this, breaking down the actual launch funnel and the stats and the data. And, how do we get to pitching our agency at 7.5? How do we sell these products on demand? How do we get our e-commerce and affiliate marketing working in the background? How do we actually start building this model where, we've got all these multiple demonstrations coming in, and actually what we're doing is building an ascension path. So very simply, I have my group and email, which is essentially zero investment. And then I have ad signals and what I'd call SLOs. So that is an investment. So at the moment, you're 97, and also the AI tool as well. And then we have other programs. And what you're doing is you're actually building a journey for customers. So I had a call yesterday with a guy called Obi. Never met him before. Didn't know who he was. He booked a call, was interested in joining our coaching program. And he said, I followed you for 2 years and I joined your free Facebook group. I'm part of Ad Signals. He said the FAT framework, the iOS 14 tool that you promoted 21, 22, he goes, that saved my agency because we were really, really struggling for results. And we're now a lot more successful. He has a team of 6. He's got a really good revenue, and he's now looking to kind of take that to the next level. He's like, I know that you're the person I need to invest in. I want to find out how I can do that. So that's the ascension path right there, which is you're building these. And for Obi, for example, it was a slow lane. He'd joined my Facebook group. He'd bought the FAT framework, and then he was slowly evolving into the next stage of the agency. It's not to say you can't go out and sell these high ticket agency things right away. Absolutely can, with the right demonstration. And this is a big part of what I'll be kind of bringing forward into Mexico is no matter what business you're running, not only can you create the short-term cash flow and the long-term growth, you can mix and match that. It doesn't matter what business you're running to make sure that you've constantly got cash flow coming in. Because at the end of the day, all the things we want to achieve, time freedom, impact, buy all the things we want, experience all the things we want, money helps to make that happen. Money isn't happiness in itself, but it can create the happiness and also the time freedom. The more money you have, the better you can bring in people who might be working in your business, or people like me that are helping you to grow your business. For example, would I have had that 50K and the confidence to spend 50K on this mastermind 3-4 years ago? Probably not. Even here, this 25K was an unbelievable stretch. We didn't have the money. We had to borrow and put things on credit cards and borrow money off family and stuff like that just to make it happen. Now, through all the profit investment tools and effectively managing our P&L better, not only was this money already available in the bank, we'd already got secondary accounts to make sure we've got taxes considered and unexpected costs, and we're constantly streaming that back into investments. So, what does that mean for me? For me right now, that means real estate, it means stocks, shares, and crypto. And my view of crypto, if anyone's considering it, is only ever spend money you're happy losing. So for example, if I invest 1K a month into crypto, that's money that if it never comes back is not going to impact me. And if I don't want to spend it, I won't. But there's this kind of concept of dollar cost average, which is you invest on the same things every single month and you iron out any increases or decreases in value because you're playing the long game. And this is one of the things I wish I had done back here when I first started to hear about crypto and Bitcoin and stuff. I think 2013, 2014. I had a few friends saying, hey, you should just consider getting this. And it just didn't seem like anything worth doing. But, 10 years time, we're going to be saying the same things. I wish in 2023, I'd done that thing that I wanted to do. So now I'm a bit more speculative and now I'm able to push things into different areas. But that's only because I have the systems to be able to do that and the knowledge and the experience to be able to do that. And what I'm offering you is the opportunity to be able to take those blueprints, push those into whatever your business is and make that happen for you. So that's the key thing about this mastermind is it's designed to give you all of my learnings, all of my failures, but that's not the entire part of it. So that's literally what we've just covered is going to be covering like probably about 4 hours of day one. So that takes us into lunch. And the reason I've spent so much time on that part is because the other parts fall into place. So this is a 3-day mastermind. A huge part of that is dedicated to what I just shared with you. And then we go into mindset, we go into goal planning, goal building, breaking out friction and building levers. Now, where did this come from? There's a guy called Dan Sullivan. He's one of the kind of coaches of the coaches in the kind of internet marketing space. He's been teaching people for 30 years. And he has this whole kind of framework created on the 10X mindset. Again, something I learned through Russell Brunson's mastermind, which I'll be bringing into Mexico to show how my mind was opened up and to show you how that planning process will create more exciting goals and also push you outside of what you believe is possible into a new path. Then what we're going to do is talk about time, money, and health. Like if there's one thing that I benefited from over the last 2-3 years, it was absolutely taking control of my mental health and also my physical. So my physical health, I feel right now, I'm 42 years old, that I'm in as good a condition as I have been for the last 15 or 20 years. And that's because I consciously manage everything about my health, my sleep, my water intake, my diet, my supplements, my exercise, and even switching off from work. Up until probably 2019, I found it hard to switch off from work. I would be working those 40, 50-hour weeks and just trying to please everyone and get everything done. But now my work weeks vary between 10 to 20 hours, sometimes maybe 30 hours, but I have a much better balance. I can do the things I enjoy. And when you have better mental and physical health, it makes it easier to manage your time effectively, be productive, and therefore be able to manage your business and your life a lot easier as well. And then we're going to break down into the demonstrations. So we talked about webinars, VSLs, haven't talked about book launches and product launch formulas, lead magnets. So we're going to go through that and start to share practical examples for people to start thinking about building their own as well. And then we'll go into the practical building those as well. And then we go into hot seats. And this is one of the big reasons to go to a physical event like this where you're in person, because you will get the opportunity to present your business in front of everyone there to get direct feedback. So you might be like, this is all great. And, I've got all these ideas, by this point, you'll know the biggest opportunities that you have, and you'll have the sum of the room to give you that feedback there and then. So literally the last day of the event, plus part of the day two, is going to be focused on you getting specific help for your business. So on average, it'll be 45 minutes. You've got the floor. If you want 10 minutes, that's fine. You've got the whole 45 minutes to have the sum of the knowledge of that room working on your business, any part of it. It could be, I'm launching this e-commerce store. How do I do it? What's the launch plan? It could be my agency's growing, but I don't know what the next step is. It could be, I want to build a lead gen funnel. Can you guys help me do that? And that's going to be an action-based a workshop to make sure that you leave this event with stuff done. So this isn't just turn up, listen, make notes, and just forget about it. This is half of the session is listen, absorb, ask questions, and make sure you're getting as much out of it as you can. Then the other half is, hey, you're going to have to take action here. This is not, because I know what it's like. You go to an event, super pumped and high. By the time you get back home, you're back into the routine. And therefore, it's back to square one. And you're now flooded with your business and life and things like that, and things don't happen. So this is why we want to make sure you're taking action at the event. And then to cap it off, 4 weeks later, we're going to come back and have an additional call to make sure that we are following up on your actions. So we're going to hold you accountable. So when you actually leave this event, you're going to have a list of actions that you're going to have in place in 4 weeks' time. And we're going to come back on a live call and make sure that you've got that as well, so that you're actually able to continue making progress. And then you'll work with the mastermind group in the Facebook group to make sure that you can continually feeding back and working with that cohort to make sure that you're pushing the boundaries on what's possible. So just as a kind of recap of what we're doing, everyone's going to be landing. I think maybe one or two are landing a day before, but you arrive on the 1st of August, which is a Tuesday. The event starts on the Wednesday through Thursday and Friday. Now, on the Tuesday, we have a dinner in the evening with the group that allows everyone to get to know who everyone is before the event starts. Then we have the 3-day event. Now, the event will roughly go from about 8:30 or 9:30 in the morning to about 4 p.m. Now, the resort that we're going to is absolutely stunning. It's kind of, I don't know if I got the video here, but it is honestly a stunning place. And the reason we booked it is I went there for Russell Brunson's event back in March this year, and myself and Shalina were just blown away. Like this area here, this is actually a lagoon that goes all the way around the resort, and the water is filtered from the sea. So they've got nets and stuff, so nothing big can get in. So there are sharks in the sea, but they can never get into here because they've got netting and stuff like that. So this is like a lagoon that goes all the way around. People swim around it, they kayak and all these other things as well. But the actual resort is absolutely stunning. And there's a whole video here which explains what is going on. Let me see if I can speed that up to 2x. You don't need to listen to it, but you can kind of see what it is. And the reason we chose something like this, so previous events have been hotel rooms and Airbnbs and things like that. But this is just an absolutely stunning result. And I think the combination of coming to a place like this, having so many activities to do, being able to relax and recharge and experience, they call it a paradise resort. It does feel that way in the sunshine and stuff. It does something to your mind. So when I went to Russell Brunson's event, it was also, I think, a 3-day event. But that was all kind of one-way talks. It was just listen to talks and then go and enjoy yourself at the resort. We didn't really leave with as much actions, but the experience of being here was just absolutely phenomenal. So that's the reason why we've chosen Mexico to go back to this resort, to give you the experience of having your kind of mind reset, having that kind of mental and physical wellness, but being able to also work with us on your business as well. So it's a massive mix of business and pleasure here as well. And that's why I'm super excited to take FOCA over there. So that's kind of what we're presenting. That's what we're working on with the folk that are there. That's pretty much it. That's my pitch to you. That's what I'm presenting out there. You've seen a glimpse. Literally, this is the glimpse of the first maybe few hours of the event. We only have 3 more places left. So we've booked out most of the rooms that we prepaid for. We've only got 3 rooms left. If you are interested, then head over to here. I'm just going to paste that in the comments. It's an application call. And the reason for that is I want to make sure not only that, it's the right fit for you, but you're the right fit for the event as well. So your personality type, your type of business, what you're actually going to contribute. Because a part of this is everyone's going to get the opportunity to share something that they have as an expertise as well. It doesn't matter how small or big it is. It could be something on mindset, could be something on investment. It could be something on traffic, on funnels, conversions, demonstration tools, PDFs, ebooks, lead magnets, absolutely anything. But you'll be asked to just share one thing. So there is an application process, calendly.com/Deepesh, mastermind, the links in the comment there. Get the call booked. It's 30 minutes. I'll answer any questions you have there, but it's your opportunity to present what you can bring as well. Just because I'm running this live on Friday, I have opened up some slots on Saturday and Sunday. If it makes sense for you to have the call. Like I said, there's only 3 places left. If we don't book them, it doesn't matter. If we can book them and we can present that to you and have you there, it'd be absolutely amazing to have you there as well. So that's pretty much it from me. I don't think there's any questions. The replay will be sent out. It'll be available for 3 days as well. But and I'll share this with you as well, just in case you haven't seen the detail of kind of what we're presenting. But that's it. For me, this is a huge opportunity to finally open up on something I've never really shared before, and all the inner details of how things work. So you can look at a 7-figure agency, you can look at a 7-figure digital business, and things look simple. Just, create an ebook, sell it for $97, make money. But the actual way you do that, the mechanics behind that, and then how you spin that into future growth is really fascinating. And I think I'm excited to share that. There are 3 main themes and topics for us: health, wealth, and happiness. And they're the 3 things that by the end of your time in Mexico, I want you to go away feeling like your health has improved, your ability to create wealth has improved, and you're going to be happier for what you're about to implement as well. So appreciate you guys joining. Hopefully that gave you some insight. And if it resonated with you, then go ahead and book the call. And if it makes sense, would love to go and to work with you out in Mexico as well. Thanks for joining me. And hopefully we'll get to speak soon.